Hello everyone, how are you doing? So here I am with another episode of Aao Baat Karein, which means let's have a conversation. Let's have a conversation today with Bertola.
Very good after a day at Clubhouse.
So Bertola is now completely addicted right now to Clubhouse after Facebook. Now he is the go-to person for Clubhouse, and he also got me on board last month, I think. But today, I mean, I joined it and I created some room, but um, I saw that it is a very interesting platform. But because I work primarily in Pakistan, I felt until yesterday, even now, that majority of my audience who I work with is not on Clubhouse because Clubhouse does not work on Android. And whereas majority of the people in Pakistan and the growing countries are on a smartphone, which is for $60, $70 in Pakistan, and on an iPhone they can't really afford it. So for me to be on Clubhouse didn't make any sense. But today at 4 p.m. I thought Dubai time, I thought let me give it a try and just announce a room and just show up. And when I showed up, Bertola showed up, Michael Cillian showed up, and then all of a sudden, everybody showed up. A lot of people showed up, like a few hundred people at least showed up, or if not 1,000. I don't know if there is a way to count them, but a lot of very powerful, very amazing people just came and just hung out. Like a parliamentarian, Sultan from Sweden was there, and then Kevin, who started the social capital world, was there, and Bertola was there, and Michael Cillian was there. So it was an amazing experience, and I think I was going to make a video, and then Bert said, "Let's do a live on this." I personally think if somebody wants to really travel the world right now, the best way to do that is just hop on Clubhouse and just go from room to room, search for a club. Maybe it's a nightclub, maybe it's startup, maybe it's your country, maybe it's whatever you can think of. You can just go in and come out of these clubs, and it's just phenomenal. Over to you, Bertola. Thank you for
Totally.
moderating. Phenomenal job today, by the way.
Yeah, Michael. Shout to Michael also. He's somewhere in the Clubhouse universe, I think, at the moment. So yeah, it's truly amazing, amazing app, amazing new media. They call it social audio, and I can recommend. I can share it later. Jeremiah Obiang just made an article about social audio platforms in general and specifically Clubhouse. Yeah, I think you got the feeling today when you were listening in the room. It is sort of a podcast radio together thing. It's like listening to a podcast, but you do it. You can see the people who are there. So imagine when you listen to radio, you can hear a great program of your interest, but here you also see the people. So you're like listening together. And it's also like you can sit on the front row or in the back row, depending a little bit when you come into the room. It's called rooms. And around different topic, it can be startups, it can be passion, it can be climate, it can be different hobbies or whatever. So it's extremely large variation of topics. So you can choose a little bit what you want to. Yeah, when you join the app, you can put in your preferences of your topics, what you're interested in, and then you start to get fed a bit with different. It's a little bit like a Facebook feed, but with rooms. So instead of posts, you see rooms that you can join. Then it's just a click, and then suddenly it's like you're in a radio channel, and you can start to listen in. And the amazing thing is also that if the host of the room or the moderator want, you can raise your hand, and he or she can put you directly up to the stage, and you can start to speak. So it's very, very quickly, and you can moderate the rooms yourself and open rooms. So it democratizes the way we communicate. And what has been truly amazing is this is voice, it's not visual. Of course, you see the people there. That is also, I think, the combination of the voice and to see people is very powerful, because suddenly Mark Zuckerberg joined the other day on Facebook in the morning. It was like chaos. And Elon Musk joined a few days back. And suddenly you maybe are on stage with them. At least you're in the same room. So this is very powerful. That I don't think this will be in a few months from now, because it will grow that. But at least now in quite early days of the app, the possibilities there to come on the same stage or be in the same room there. So it's very interesting platform, and interactive podcast, something like that. But it's more than a podcast interactive, because you can also explore. It's not only that it's interactive in the podcast, you can also explore the universe. You can go to other places. So you can literally, exactly like in social media, you can take, in 1 minute, you can go around the world. You can go into African clubs, Asian clubs, US clubs, because you see a bit of the signs on the people and you get to know them. So one room is called the Cool House. The Cool House, a club, because you can also apply for clubs. So you have rooms and you have clubs. And rooms everyone can open. A club you can apply for if you have done it a few times. So, and later on you can start directly the rooms from the club. So there are different opportunities there, but I see Japan came on board 2 weeks back. Taiwan was a few days back, so they are rolling out this app now, which is still in beta, and I think they grow like probably 1 million per day, I guess, at the moment. Because when we joined before Christmas time, it was a few 100,000, and I think now it's maybe 10 million or something. Just the last 10 days, it has been from 2 million to 10 maybe. So it's growing quickly, so it's hard to predict how the dynamics will be a year from now. And Zuckerberg and the whole team came in, the head of live stream and product, and I think it will be very interesting to see how the big social media platforms will react. I was in a room with Twitter's head of growth the other day on the same stage. So let's see what happens there. I think they need to be probably buy it in some way, or they need to develop themselves. So I think for us who are using social media, it will be positive. It will bring a leap forward in development.
I would say it's already worth $1 billion, if not more, because of the speed it's growing. It's crazy. And as you said, either of the big boys would love to buy it or try to replicate it for sure.
Yeah.
I was inviting Shahriyar from the office, and he said Twitter has launched something similar already, but it's not similar. It's something different, I believe.
Yeah.
Have you tried that one? It's also by invitation only.
Yeah. So it's not at all the same dynamics. And
No.
I think here is also the started from music. This was what I heard, a music pod before. So they twisted it a bit and made it like this. And I think it was the perfect time with the Corona, because this is really for people who can't go outside. This is like it's like magic. Here, this is really people can go in the apartment and here and there for hours and get crazy, but here they can listen to fantastic dialogues. So I think it helps. Then it's a question what happens hopefully after the Corona, when hopefully the society opens up and get a bit better back to, if not normal, at least some kind of better development. What happens then? That's hard to predict. But they have put, as you probably felt, it's extremely easy to use. I think the design is brilliant. And I looked a lot on the people who just came into the platform. I realized that this is a dream for like me looking into social capital and behavior in social networks and like this, because here you can see the process when it grows the platform. How quickly will a person, for example, who normally don't moderate the group, how quickly will they start to do something on their own? Will they do it at all? And I can see it's a strong, it's democratizes the way we moderate. And Tim Lebrecht, who is a very interesting person, he's CEO and co-founder of the German digital innovation agency called House of Beautiful Business. And they host fantastic sessions there on Clubhouse. And he wrote an article 2 weeks back, which was called "In the Age of Clubhouse, Do We All Need to Become Moderators?" And one of the quotes in the article was, "Multiverse leaders commutes in different worlds." Multiverse leaders commutes in different worlds. And that is what I think we will see now ahead, that this navigation, as we have discussed this many times before, systems entrepreneurship, the way you organize relations and knowledge in these fields between Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, because they have different LinkedIn, they have different qualities, and and of course the physical space in between. And in the Corona, people have been forced, either they want or not, to start to work remote or distance. For you and many others, or the early adopters, this has been the norm for 10, 15 years. But for the average person working, it's the norm these days. So I can see over the 5 weeks I've been there on Clubhouse that now people after this, wow, what is this about? It's so incredible. Then people say, okay, how do we take the dialogue outside? How do we start to collaborate? How can we start to do whatever it happens? So
What I did not like, here's two things. What I did not like is how they haven't put the link for Facebook and Instagram inside. So, for example,
yes.
even they don't have any IM themselves. For some reason, the world sort of hates Facebook. I don't know why they hate Facebook. It's such an amazing connector. But anyways, I think they should put in like a Facebook Connect button so that
I
we
think
can
it will
have
come.
direct
I
flow
think
there.
it must be a reason. They have
Yeah.
Instagram and they have Twitter.
Yeah,
And of course,
everybody is kind of on Instagram. They want everybody to connect on Instagram.
and that is part of Facebook. So I mean,
I know, but
maybe it's a
not the same.
negotiation at the moment. The day they put on LinkedIn and Facebook will be perfect, because I can already see the effect now that they use one of the, like they say, DM me, direct message me. So for the first time, I get like inboxes because of this app. They direct message me on Instagram or Twitter, or they find me on LinkedIn. So this will boost the other platforms as well, and you will get to make these opportunities reality. You need to be like receptive in the different spaces. So that is what I think is the multiverse leadership, to be able to like respond in the different channels and start to organize and do something about the potential of the opportunities that arise. And I heard already several people started to do everything from an investor in London that had increased his value on his investments with 25% because he got better and quicker information about investments to projects of infrastructure projects in India and all sort of things there. So, and another thing also that I haven't seen on another platform is the diversity of actors inside. Normally, if you go to maybe Facebook or LinkedIn, you find like your bubble of people. But here you have a mix of sort of powerful people, decision makers, investors, entrepreneurs, all people in the same room. Probably it will shift over time. Now it's a bit of everything coming together, but at least now it is like opening up a completely new field, a new space, you can say.
Another thing I learned from this is that there are billions of users already on the internet,
Yeah,
and if you want to really get your app going,
yeah,
focus on the ease of the app rather
yes,
than the simplicity wins.
mm,
So just because this app is simple,
mm,
people are using it. There is no other reason I think that, I mean, number one, it should work.
mm,
Number two, it should be extremely simple. And then you are like having a $100 million company if you just make the app work, number
mm,
one, and number two, just make it as easy as possible. No,
yeah, yeah,
frictionless usage. Same thing goes
yes,
for WhatsApp. Same thing
yes,
went for Instagram.
yes,
People, programmers need to understand that they complicate the product. They, oh, I want this. I want. We can put this. We can put this. No, keep it stupidly simple.
mm,
KISS. Keep it stupidly simple. The more stupidly simple it is, the more it will fly. I mean, StreamYard is one of the examples that it's extremely simple app. Still, people are not able to use it, but
mm,
it's a very simple app, and people it grew like anything.
mm.
But on an app level, I think we must definitely learn how to make it simple. Here are some questions. Shaba is saying that she made a room, but it didn't fly. Shaba, I think what I learned today, I made a room also when I joined in first and nobody came in. So the difference today in the room was that number one, the room was called, had a very good title. It was not about me, it was not about anyone, it was what is the purpose of life? Now, this is a question which is interesting for a lot of people who are thinkers. So, the people who came to the room today were very big thinkers, deep thinkers. Not everybody wants to be in a club like partying, but this was geared towards those people who were into that. So, if you want to catch followers or if you want to get people in your room, number one, the name of the room should be something which is public, and that is what I think happened today. Second, because Bertola and Michael already have a few thousand followers already here, when they came, and they are also in that space, they're not party animals, they are thinkers. So because it was what's the purpose of life, because when they came and they others saw the room title, they started joining in. So that was why I think today was successful. Uh, Otherwise, what's your tip on it? How do people get a successful room?
I think I've tested it quite many times over the last weeks. There are so many variables there. I totally agree what you said. If you have purpose, passion, life, community building. It's like topics that everyone are interested in one way. They can relate to it. Either you're an entrepreneur or citizen or investor, or like everyone can be interested, and we saw that happened. And the other thing is exactly like you say. Of course, you invite people, you ping them in to the room, people with followers. And when you follow a person, you get a signal where they are, especially when you make them a moderator. So then if you're a moderator in the group, you get a green symbol, and then that signal goes out in the network. So a lot of people, you can have three types of rooms. You have a closed room where you only invite people into it. No other people knows about it in the clubhouse. And you have semi-closed room, semi-open. Then it's the mutual people who follow you and you follow them who will get the notification. And then you have totally open groups. And you can go from closed to open in a second. So often some groups, they open a bit of small conversation and you get to know, and then they open up the space or the room. And I've seen some of the moderators, they grow more and more moderators so they can make people moderators, and they expand in that way.
Yeah. Alex is asking if there is an Android version. I personally think that they will not release an Android version on purpose very soon, because they want to keep it like the people on Clubhouse right now are very elitist, very, very different people. It's not like the masses right now. So I don't. If I was them and I want to keep it this way, yes, I will have more numbers, but I think they would wait for an Android version, or they should wait for an Android version, which is not good for the people, but at the same time, the company needs to kind of, if they're getting a million users a day on iPhone, imagine if they opened up on Android, they will probably crash.
Yes,
So
that
I
I
think
think
it's
that's one of the reasons.
yeah. Plus, iPhone is one flavor for every device. Android is different flavors on every different device. So even if they release an Android, it's a havoc to have an Android version, because it will not run as smoothly as the iPhone is running, because the UI, if you use it, is very simple and it's not complex. I think if I install Clubhouse for my mother on an Android, she wouldn't be able to handle it, because where did it go? Where's the voice coming from? How do I close it? I think it will not be as good on there as it is on an iPhone. So I would think that they're not going to release it soon. I would wish to it, but I would think it would take at least 6 months before an Android version would
They
come.
speak about a few months, but it's hard to predict. I think they have been
It's
shocked
hard to predict.
because there were just a few thousand in September. So it's really taking on almost. It would be great to step into the heads of the founders and the
Yeah.
investors, and like how they see. It's like a gold rush. I think it's the same feeling.
Yeah. Right
It's
now, I don't think they would come. It would be stupid, but again, who am I to know? This is the simplest possible app to make, and it has made a few $1 million overnight, I would say.
yeah. Well,
And
it's already have been a discussion of $1 billion, and there is
I
a
think
rumor that Facebook have said $20 billion to them. So
it's,
that's a lot of money. So
yeah,
and John and Mark Andreessen, who are investors, is also on the board of Facebook.
Mark,
So
Mark Andreas is.
Mark Andreessen Horowitz. So they are the largest investor in Clubhouse right now, and he's on the board of Facebook. So of course, in one way or another, they must know about it. And I saw Randy Zuckerberg, sister to Mark, was joining Clubhouse in July or June last year. So of course they have been aware of this.
Okay.
So
Let's ask some more
it's
questions. So how do you build followers on Clubhouse? If you have
it's much
1,000 followers already.
well, it's much harder. That's for sure. Here, you need this as a recommendation for you who go. You can't sit or to lurk around. People will not add you, basically. You need to go up on stage and show that you
You're
like
somebody.
that you are real.
Yeah.
Do you have something to say? And I think that's the big difference here, that it's not a nice picture from the beach. Now it's suddenly your voice.
Yeah.
Obviously, I've seen a lot of onboarding the last weeks, people who are influencers or a bit famous people, and have joined with their people into the platform. So you can make that sort of shift. But then I have built a big reputation outside, so they really follow you in. And that has happened, for example, with the Swedish users, some quite famous Swedish stars, so to say. They already do radio program and the TV and the largest newspaper and so forth. But the funny thing, we have been on the stage like with, I have been with the governor in Washington D.C. I went with the chief administrator of House of the Lords in UK, like BG Fogg, who's the legend at Stanford, who his students made Instagram, and I think
You're
Clubhouse as
there.
well, in the same stage. So it's like, it is possible. So my recommendation would be, if you are there, make a really good profile that you present yourself, and help each other. Small community, be curious, go into other places, be active. And even if you feel you're not an expert, you can always go up on stage and ask a question. I appreciate your work and I'm thinking like this. So you don't need to be like, give 10 minutes of presentation. You can be a curious person, so to say.
So Ishaq Sinwari, if you want an invite, anybody who wants an invite, what you do is you make an account, download the app on an iPhone or an iPad, make your account, and then follow me and follow Bertola. And then if we once you follow us and request an invite, if we have an extra invite, we will send it to you. And but don't try to hustle. Don't try to like, please send me invite, please send me invite. It's rude. Nobody would want you to. I wouldn't want you to be in that space
And
at
there is
all.
and there is another important thing. It's only personal invitations at the moment. And if the person you invite do some crazy stuff inside, you will be blocked from the platform.
What?
So you put your reputation. That's why you really invite people you know.
Okay, I did not know that.
Mm.
Okay, sorry guys if I don't know you. I'm not sending any invites, but I would still recommend download the app. Um, I know this, Bertola knows this, most people don't know this, but so download, make an account, make your ID, send a request to people because it will, the moment you will join, it will start showing you which of your friends are already there. You based on your phone numbers, based on the phone book which you have. So I'm sure a few of your friends are already there, and you can request them and see what happens.
Mm. And also, I think that is what you can already start to think about, because that's next thing. It's like, it's good with Clubhouse, of course, but what will you do about it? I mean, you can prepare a strategy. How will you integrate with other platforms you're using, with all the things you are doing, Rehan, with YouTube and Instagram and all the other platforms? So what?
Yeah, I invited like 10 people today, man. I don't know who they are. They just send me a message and boom. So, I send them. I don't have a problem, but I don't want my account to be closed. I have had too many of my accounts closed for because of other people. Okay, so
I
what
also
else?
heard then we don't know about the privacy and the security because it's voice. And I was in a room today, and you don't know, of course, the people, but right now it's personal accounts. And Taiwan did onboarding the other day, and I heard 14,000 people joined one room. So and now guys like they already have like in Hong Kong, and the Chinese, so to say, is looking into who are the people there in the rooms, and like so it's a bit tricky also in this world of it's powerful. It's very powerful forces.
So Zahid is from Afghanistan. I don't know, Zahid, if you're on Clubhouse, do join in if you're not. But I noticed, Bertola, a lot of Swedish were there. Is that
Yeah,
they hired you already? I mean, you're working 99 hours a day already for a Clubhouse, and Michael is doing the same. You
Michael have
are,
spent a lot of time in the Swedish groups. I haven't been that much yet,
you are
but
everywhere.
I took. I started first to explore into other parts of the world to build the relations with the communities before they get crowded. So I was quite intentionally out there bridging into Asia and Africa, and like they who started small groups now. But I think in a few months they will be large clubs. So it's good to
Oh,
be there before you have 10,000 people on stage. I mean, that's a maximum of 5,000 people, but we don't
5,000
know.
people to do what?
5,000 people in the room.
Okay.
So you need a lot of food.
Shaba, it's very addicting if you are addicted to good people, I think. Today was a wonderful experience because everybody was phenomenal in the room. So I went in, I thought I would do 20 minutes, and I was there for 3.5 hours. I was just like glued there, and everybody who came on the stage was amazing. I just couldn't let myself go, even if I wanted to. And in the end, I kind of just left because I couldn't even say goodbye. It's just it's just insane that the quality of the people there was phenomenal. So I think it's a beautiful mixer. I love to mix things, and I think it's a beautiful mixer. It's like it reminds me of the mixer in the bar
Mm,
where you mix everything because you can go from one room to another room frictionless within a second. And that's, I think, one of the most powerful thing which attracts me to it first time, because if you join a Facebook group, you have to be, you have to, uh, now you have to give approval, and blah blah blah, and you have to
mm,
search for them. Here, randomly, people you go in and you
yes,
see
yes.
left and right and north and south and east and west all in one space,
Mm,
and all of a sudden, at least in my network, because I followed random people from around the
mm,
world, it's like it reminds me kind of like MIRC.
mm,
If you remember the,
mm,
it's because it was the early age of chatting, and people in the room were, of course, majority from the US because internet was more in the US, but you could find people from everywhere. And
mm.
similarly, this is what's beautiful about this, that people are from everywhere. So I hope that I mean, today I asked one of my assistant to send an invite to every single parliamentarian of Pakistan. So we sent out 1,100 messages to them, and then I sent out on my lists and everywhere. So of course, majority of our parliamentarians are not on iPhone, but still maybe 20% are. So hopefully they will join. And
The
um,
government of Germany, I think, was the first, at what I heard, all of them in. So Germany was very, took this, yeah, I would say they were very active.
let's
Uh,
invite the senator. Did you meet the senator Teak? No, you haven't met him yet. So I
no.
think he would be very interesting. Let's
Mm.
let I will invite him personally on the phone. And if he comes in, he will be. He's now calling himself the digital senator.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So,
absolutely. So, and I told it was also interesting. Swedish radio was there, and Expressen, the second largest newspaper in Sweden. So they were early there inside. So it will be interesting now to see the other news agencies when they get panic to come in. It's hard for the public organizations how to deal with this because they are feeling some city will take the lead and go in, and the others can't. They need to be there as well. So it will be very interesting to see how like the bigger actors will deal with this speed. As an individual, you have the mandate to do it on your own, but how do you do if you are Microsoft or a big organization? Because it's not organizations who join, it's people. It's Rehan. Some of the organizations, they have within brackets the name. First they can say Volvo, and then you have a name, Rehan Allahwala, within brackets. But you need to tie the account to an individual, a person, so far.
So as I said, it's interesting. It feels like the birth of Facebook because everybody was on Facebook when it started,
Yeah.
and then they all left. To me, it's the same phenomena going on right now. But what is interesting for me is that people are trying it. Normally, people who tried Facebook were not trying Facebook. They were. I mean, I see CEOs of large telecom companies popping up in my because everybody's phone number which I have, so I get a message, and I see very very powerful people joining in, very very every day, and that's very surprising. I mean, people who I would never expect in my life to be on anything social, they were there. That was very very interesting. So let's hope. I
Yeah.
think it is an elitist product right now, which is fine.
Yeah.
And but at the same time, if you're ready to invest in yourself and get an iPad, it doesn't cost $1 million to get an iPad, or an iPhone. The old one even. It works.
And I think it's a new medium, so something will evolve in the other platform.
What a beautiful question. What is the objective behind this app? What would
Yeah.
you answer, Batola? I would say the objective behind this app is what you decide it to be. Because right now it's a virgin territory, and you come in and you decide what this app becomes. Just like Facebook was designed for university students, and then it expanded based on what people demanded. So today, you decide. Everything which is new. The beautiful part opportunity is that we all have a say in it. What do you think, Berto?
Yeah, absolutely. It is what you make it, what you will make it for. It's a little bit like this Almedalen, this event we went to 2 years back. You go to
Yeah,
one place, but you can do it 100 times quicker or 1,000 times.
true.
So it's truly that you can surf the world in a few minutes and go in and meet your idol or business partner, politicians or something. I think this will shift. It will be interesting to see, not the least, the traditional media. I mean, for radio stations and podcasts, and I already heard that podcasters, 1 month back, I was in the podcast rooms, and they were scared to death. Like, okay, the podcast will disappear. This is the new podcast. It's the Spotify for podcast.
I don't
Uh,
think so.
and then, but then I heard the practice already emerging is that they do pre-podcasts in Clubhouse. So they build up the crowd there like a pre-party, and then they build for next step.
Mhm. It's a very good place to lure in new customers, I think.
Yes.
It's a big fishing space,
Yes.
and this is where the hip crowd is right now. So you go, it's like a Davos right now. You go in, you meet
Yes.
the right people, you can make the connections, and then make a personal connection and
Yeah.
invite them to wherever you are, or vice versa.
Yeah.
Like when Elon come, Zuckerberg come, then people just come in. So that's you know okay. Anything else you want to add? So people who want to join, please download the app. Bertola, follow him. Heart of Sweden is his Clubhouse ID. Mine is Rehan Allahwala. The website is joinclubhouse.com. When I got the first invites from Bertola, I was like, what's he talking about? So, but it's a very, very cool app which works only on iOS. Download it. Buy an iOS if you want to invest in yourself. I remember I was in San Diego, and Facebook released a new app just for people who were verified. And in that app, you could go Facebook Live. And that was, I went and bought the iPhone straight the same day, the moment I found out that there was this app. And that gave me an edge over other people. I was one of the first people in our country to do a Facebook Live or use a Facebook Live, and it gave me, I used to have 1,000 people watch me whenever I was going live all the time. Now it's 35. So in the early time, its curiosity is there, its hype is there. So it's a very good ride. And I have another friend, Suhail Khan, who was writing that he made $4,500 in an hour or something on Clubhouse, luring in the right people. So I don't know what they're doing, but as I said, a lot of people are giving free advice and getting great customers, new network. It's like going to a phenomenal conference, and there's a conference going on 24 hours right now on Clubhouse. So you're missing out if you're not doing that.
Yeah, and it's really the superstars like on stage.
Yeah,
So it's like really at that level, and it's free.
yeah.
So it will be interesting to follow what happens ahead there, but it will democratize how we use media, I think. And like you remember Microsoft, a lot of people said it was a dead platform 15, 20 years back. But it's still there, and it's a team, and I think the same is with Facebook and others. They will be this extreme intelligence around those platforms if you know how to use them. So I think it's the combination of building these platforms so it fits your organization or your entrepreneurial ideas, how you best do it. If it's Twitter or Facebook, or there are a lot of TikTok stars inside there, like that. So Insta stars and like that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right, thank you. Anything else, Bertola? Or we can end it.
No, I think it's fine. So
Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for being a super evangelist of the planet, connecting the world together. I have to give a TED talk next week. I'm thinking of doing it about power of connections for empowering humanity or something like that. I don't know what's a good title, but I want to talk about how connections have made things better in our country and the world, and how connecting the people builds social capital, builds trust, then therefore builds economy. You have some input for me on that?
yeah, absolutely. Let me just think. Of course, there are so many cases there.
Okay.
Mm, yeah, my brain is overload after this. A few
Okay.
hours there on Clubhouse there, but I think shifting. It's just to go to the people. If we take Pakistan as an example, how many people have another view of Pakistan because what you and others like Amar and Sadaf and many others have done, but like by opening it up to the world, the spaces. So you can really transform something if you use the power of social media.
What I think is the thing is, like, for example, Ammar was doing good work in his bubble, Sadaf was doing good work in the bubble, and I kind of know that I did this, but it's kind of feels bad to take the credit for this because I've been plowing the land for so long,
Mm.
and I know that finally things are coming out because of the 10 year of work on social media, encouraging them, small little bites of
Yeah.
work
That
which
that
paid
is
off.
always, unfortunately or fortunately, that's always the problem with air and commons like this relations. That it's very hard to see when you start the trigger, and the effect can be many years later.
Yeah.
So that is a challenge of investing in social capital, that you don't know when the effect comes, and It's not like building a house where you see brick after brick. This is like you need to understand it's being built, but you don't see it. So you need to learn how to see other signals. Unfortunately, in social capitalist, you see when the alternative happens when it breaks down, and the worst of it is a war. So that's the alternative cost of social capital when the relations break down. And peace is the best example of social capital, good relations.
Do you want to come and give a TED talk in 10 days?
I have too much at the moment, so I need to go look at Clubhouse.
You can look in Clubhouse in Pakistan while you're here.
Yeah, but in the coming months we can make one.
Okay, Abdullah is getting married also, so maybe you can join that also. It's 2 days apart.
Yeah. So that's good. Yeah,
No?
we will do something in the coming months here. So starting the journey. And Michael, of course, he's doing full super job. I think his time for breakthrough is now, because suddenly he has 40 identities where he can go and like a chameleon into different rooms, and he's you need a captain when you're going out in the universe of the clubhouse. So I think
What do you mean by 40 identities?
he has made different identities like photos. So when you go into a gamer room, you can shift photo avatar.
Okay.
You can quickly upload the photo and shift your identity and melt in like a chameleon. That's a small trick, because there will be thousands and thousands of people there. So it's important to bit in a good way stand out, not in a negative, but like a curious way. So look at these avatars there. I think it's brilliant. If it fits your like who you are, of course. But he is the captain and
I don't know if I want to spend days and days addicted to Clubhouse, but let's see. I would like to definitely spend some time on it. It was really interesting to hear, and it was encouraging to find crazy people out there. I think that's the word I would like to use. It was very
yeah.
encouraging. It's like when I met you 6, 7 years ago, this friend of mine from France got me into these groups on Facebook, 5 or 6 groups where I think Bridge Builder was there, and there were some other groups. I've met so many amazing souls who had collected over the years over there. It's like what I'm talking about. Like all the work which you did 3, 4 years, I came in and I capitalized on finding 50 people out of those 1,000 people instantly. And that gave me a jump start internally. And a belief was born that yes, it's possible to have a crazy dream. Because when you don't have anybody around you who has a crazy dream, you don't want to have a crazy dream because you don't want to be called crazy. But if you have 5 friends who have crazy dreams, then you can be the sixth one having a crazy dream also. Nobody is really, even if you are criticized, it's fine. So, but you probably spend years. When did you start the first Bridge Maker group? What was it
Uh,
called?
I think I started more or less 2007, but 2010 in social media. So it's 10, 11 years maybe, quite systematically.
Yeah.
So 11 years of weaving and of catalyzing groups and weaving together. And yeah.
Thank you for that.
So let's see. And one point there that a lot of these people, this bridgers or living bridges, now after several years, have spoken to the people for the first time. So it is like it ties. You get this bonding in the Clubhouse in the digital space. So let's see what happens from the digital space out in the physical space. But I think the potential is there, and I already heard several people and organizations that have started projects together after meeting at Clubhouse.
Cool.
And finally, I think for people who have, it's a lot of mental health issues at the moment with Corona, and I think for them it has helped immensely. I can hear from so many voices have told that this has even saved their lives, and that they could speak to other people. So that's also an impact in itself, just for people to meet each other and talk.
Okay. Alrighty, thank you again, Bertola, for all the beautiful work you have done on this planet. You are an amazing, amazing person, and I feel you are very selfless. I wish I could learn that from you. And thank you for being an inspiration and hardworking guy. And lots of love.
Likewise.
Thank you, Bertola.
Okay, great. See you soon on the house.
On the house. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.